I worked in a hardware store years ago. It was run by a big Italian family, kind of mafia-ish, with lots of iffy backroom office meetings and stuff. On my first day, I'm in the back pricing stuff and I hear this weird sound. It was a shuffle, squeak, squeak sound. I look up and this ancient man shuffles in. He's wearing a brown polyester suit from the 70s that is about 4 sizes too big for him. He's using a walker and has this oxygen tank on wheels attached to it. Straight behind him is a monk with a scythe. Full-length brown rope around waist, shaved friar head, and a scythe. So pretty much Mr. Burns and Death walk into the back room. I look up in shock and the monk asks, "Where's Al?" I point to the back office and they shuffle, squeak, and roll on in. I'm left for half an hour wondering what is happening. After they leave, I go and ask my boss who they were. Turns out it's his cousin Peter, Franciscan monk, and his uncle Peter, dying old man on oxygen. Young monk Peter picks up elder Peter from old folks' home, takes him out for lunch, then goes to cousin Al's hardware store to get scythe sharpened, because I guess that is what monks do. On my first day of work, I am late to the party, but I think someone might get a kick out of this. I clean office buildings and warehouses after hours. The vast majority of the time, no one is with me since I clean either very early in the morning or late at night. On one such cleaning venture, I was getting ready to clock out and lock up as normal, but had to take multiple bags of trash out the back door into a very large and sectioned off piece of property that was not lit well. Up to this point in time, I've never been paranoid about cleaning this building since by that time, I'd have been with it for a full year with no odd encounters. However, I'd recently picked up a few hours worth of the No Sleep podcast, and one thing led to another, and I let my mind wander. It's about 1 a.m. now, and I'd done all my roundups when it's time for me to go out back and finish up with taking out the trash. Once I opened the door, however, I was greeted by not a single pair, but 3 pairs of glowing white eyes. I immediately slammed the door shut and dropped the bags and pulled out my phone, ready to contact the manager in charge of this branch to warn him of intruders. This property had a fence surrounding it with thick woods. On the back end of it, it would be difficult to say the least to get on the property from the back. When I hear tapping. A tapping like a set of hooves walking about on pavement. Realizing this may not be as serious as it seemed at first, I pushed the door open to find a family of deer laying in the grass a few yards away, and 2 younger deer walking near the trash bin, sniffing around. I didn't bother sticking around much after since there was no longer a reason. But wow, did I learn adrenaline is a hell of a drug. On my first day on the job, assisting at a small car dealership, I was supposed to be alone at the time and was getting ready to close up shop. I was going through, checking all the doors, shutting off lights, when I heard what sounded like a grunt or growl coming from down the back hallway. Down this hallway on the right are doors into walled-off work bays, and on the left were offices followed by bathrooms. I froze for a second before turning the light back on, asking if anyone was there, and in not hearing a reply, I turned the light off and continued shutting down for the night. Walking back past the hall on my way to the back door to let myself out, I heard the noise again, and this time I couldn't ignore it, as it wasn't in my head. I go in the center of the showroom and dial the business owner. Right to voicemail, his phone is off. I call one of the salespeople. He's too far away, but tells me to call the police if I'm uncomfortable, or he'll be there in about 20 minutes, whichever I like. I tell him I'd hate to waste the police's time, and to please come over when he can, and I'd keep an eye down the hall. At this point, the lights are all off at this point, so I'm in the center of the showroom, surrounded by old junkers, and just looking down this hall with an emergency exit light on it. I feel for my shield, but I forgot I left it in my car because the company owner didn't want guns in his business. Anyway, a few minutes go by, and I hear what sounds like an mixed with a cough. I approach the hall and again shout, "Is anyone there?" I call the police. They'll be here any minute. If you want to leave, exit where you are. And there's a fire exit at the end of this hall. Use it. Just leave. I don't care what you're doing here. Just go. A few moments pass. Nothing. A few more minutes go by, and I don't hear anything. But I see a light start spilling out from under one of the office doors. The office lights are motion activated. At this point, I was about to mass my drawers, but I had missed lunch, so I had nothing to abandon. I tried to quietly retreat towards the front door, where the sales guy is likely to come in from, but with my heart racing. I'm sure it was more like a sprint, slamming shoes and all. I'm backed against the front door. Call the salesman. He says he's about 5 minutes out, and he tells me to wait outside. I go for my keys, and they're in my purse, across the showroom, right next to the hall. I'm horrified. I'm not going anywhere near there. I grab an umbrella for defense and just wait. What feels like hours go by, but in reality, it's just a few moments. I'm trying to work up the nerve to go get my keys when I hear a doorknob turning. The light starts entering the hall. Whoever was in the office was coming out. Before I could see who it was, and after seeing it was a decent-sized man, he clicked the sensor turning off the lights. I shout at him, "The police are on their..." I get cut off by a loud boom coming from behind me. I scream like a little girl, fall forward, turn around, and I think it's the salesman opening the door, who apparently felt the need to knock on it for some godforsaken reason. He opens the door in a heartbeat, maybe two, but 150 beats per minute, it's hard to tell, and he's in the showroom, gun drawn, telling the man to put his hands up within a minute. After a moment, he flicks on his flashlight, and the man in the hall turns back around to face us. He's dressed in a somewhat nice, older suit with an untied tie and hat hair. He looks at us and signs, I'm told, "What the hell, Bobby? Put the gun away! Stop pointing that thing at me." Yeah, it was a Def Parts manager who was staying late to work on some paperwork, who I completely forgot about. We all had a good laugh, And from that point on, while I was working with a dealer, people would make a point to startle me. I lost pounds that day.